Hey, welcome back. I've got another video for you where we're going to be taking a look at the Old World Almanac for Saturday, January 20th. And today is the release date of Warhammer the Old World. And to go with that, to coincide, they had a big event at Warhammer World. Apparently it was packed, apparently it did really well, and everybody apparently had a lot of fun. I keep saying apparently because it was something that was far out of reach for me, and I had to live through other YouTubers and people posting online about their experiences, and I'm glad they had fun. You know, it's been too long since Warhammer Fantasy has been the center of a Warhammer World event, and it's nice to see that that's back. So, the big news today was the next faction that they promised to show off, and it's Orcs and Goblins, the Orc and Goblin tribes. So, these guys are, in my mind, you know, the go-to bad guys of the setting, and that's just because I started in 6th edition and it was Empire versus Orcs and Goblins in the box set. It's not a box set that I bought, but it's one that I saw on the shelves. It's one I saw other people buying and playing with, and as a result, I got really familiar with those monopose orcs of the day. So, getting right into what they tell us, there's a lot of releases coming for Orcs and Goblins, just like everybody else. There's tons of stuff being brought back, and it's not just the plastic kits you would expect, of course. They're going to do all the other stuff. So, the battalion box is going to come with the Arcane Journal. There's also going to be dice and cards that they've said will be available, you know, while quantities last. So that'll be something to try to grab. I think the cards at least. And yeah, the battalion box. So that's also nice to know that they're called battalion boxes again. I miss battalion boxes in Battle Forces. I kind of wish that the combat patrols were called Battle Forces just for the nostalgia, and not the Christmas boxes that seem to they seem to call the Christmas boxes Battle Forces now. So, yeah, maybe those will get repackaged as Battle Forces now. That'd be cool. But back on track for fantasy. It's a mixed box, you know. It's not bad, it's not great, and I think that mostly comes down to the fact that it's Orcs and Goblins. They are a faction that requires a lot of models. It's a horde army, and in this box, you do get a horde, but you also can very easily fit this in a relatively small amount of points. You get 31 orcs with a command, 2 units of 20 goblins with commands each, as far as I understand. Yeah, they each have their own command upgrades, it says, or at least that's how I'm reading it. And you get 2 boar chariots. So, the good. Right off the bat, you get tons of bodies. You get 31 orcs. Once you get some unit fillers in there, that's an easy 40 orcs. That's great. You get 40 goblins. And again, unit fillers, you can probably get that up to 50 pretty easy. And goblins and orcs are going to be the mainstay of most people's armies, just because they are cheap, but they're very effective. They offer a lot of bang for buck, is kind of what I'm saying here, especially the orcs. Goblins, you know, they're not the most effective soldiers, but because you're going to have so many of them compared to other people's armies, I do believe they are sub 5 points a model without upgrades. That's pretty sweet. Even with some upgrades, they're still sub 5 points per model. So you can wind up with a fairly hefty goblin force, if that's what you want to go for. And then you have those 2 chariots. You know, they're probably one of the weaker points in this, and only because you get 2 of them and they're both boar chariots. If one had been a boar chariot and one had been a wolf chariot, an orc and a goblin chariot, I think it would have been a lot better. I'm not saying 2 chariots are bad, because boar chariots are quite good, but it would have been nice to have the mix of, you know, one of each, because then you would have been able to easily buy 2 of these without even thinking, because you would have had 4 chariots, but really it's only 2 of each. So it's actually not that bad. You know, I could easily see running 4 chariots of 2 kinds. I don't know if I'd run 4 boar chariots. Obviously, if I bought 2 of these, I would run 4 chariots. Maybe one of them as a character, but definitely I would run the 4 chariots while this is what I had. But once I built my army out to like 2,000, 3,000 points, if I have other options, I don't know if I'd ever run 4 chariots. That seems a little excessive. I know chariots are good, but these guys aren't Tomb Kings. These guys aren't going to have units of chariots. These are single chariots. So, not sold on that. That's, not the best. The other thing is that even though these aren't getting the books and everything, which is going to drop the price, we're also not getting characters. So depending on how you look at it, that's not great. Obviously getting a character in the box to get you started right off the bat would have been nice, especially if they had just tossed him in included with this, so that you could have, an easy 650 to 750 point army in the box. When you compare this to the Bretonnians and the Tomb Kings, who each have 1250, this is a bit underwhelming, to say the least. And the lack of a character probably didn't help that. On the flip side, I have definitely bought box sets, combat patrols, start collectings and whatnot, and gotten a character that I've never built. Because I don't need that character. Either I have a bunch of them, or, even just have 2 of them. Like for my guard, I've never built the combat patrol command squad because I have so many command squads. I just didn't need another one. And then for my AdMech, I almost bought an AdMech set until I saw it was the same Tech Priest Dominus I already have from a Start Collecting box. Because some of these characters just sort of make the rounds through the different starter sets and the different value sets. So I guess depending on how you look at it, it might be okay that we're not getting a character in here, because it does actually make the box more rebuyable. I don't know what the word is here. You can multi-buy this box without getting a stack of characters you don't need. Obviously there's always use for bits and whatnot, but I don't know. I think, I think if I had to decide yes or no, it was a good idea, I would have to just gut reaction say yes, but I would definitely understand anybody who is upset about the lack of a character, because again, it just means that you don't have a force you can use with the battalion. And I think that was one thing that a lot of people felt GW had fixed with the more modern value boxes, was that inclusion of a character. You don't get started with this with this set. You need to go buy another box of something, or another blister, whatever, to get that character. Whether it's a shaman or a big boss or a war boss or whatever, you've got to go get something else now. And depending on how much this costs, that is frustrating. I can understand. But moving past that, I want to stay mostly positive, because the Orcs and Goblins, they've been gone for years. And now we're getting it all back. So that's just nice. Even if you don't like the old world, even if you don't plan to play it, and even if this game dies, in 6 months, which I'm really hoping it doesn't, but, worst case, we got models back and the market's going to get flooded again. It's going to drop the price of used models. And anybody who's looking to get into Orcs for the next couple of years, you're going to be able to buy stuff off the shelf or buy the, more easily accessible used stuff, worst case. And next they talk about the Arcane Journal, maps, lore, iconography, all the stuff that we've already seen with the other 2. And we're going to get 2 armies of infamy, the Nomadic Wa and the Troll Horde. Both of these sound really, really fun. A Troll Horde, I don't 100% know what that would look like. I don't know if that means probably just goblins instead of more orcs. But then it's just going to be a ton of trolls. I mean, that just sounds wicked fun. And then Nomadic Wa, that just sounds fun. I'm imagining a lot of boar riders, wolf riders, chariots. I mean, I guess maybe in that case you'd want 2 of these boxes, get more of the chariots. Probably a lack of war machines. It seems like it's probably going to be a really mobile army. That's what I'm betting, which is cool. I don't know. I'm excited about orcs. I don't even play them, but it's really nice to see them back and getting a new book with some neat alternatives. Okay, and yeah, next we get new miniatures. So right off the bat, I like these guys. You know, I didn't even have to look too closely to know that I really like them. But getting in close to them and looking at them, there's just a lot to actually like here. This big orc here, Black Orc War Boss, he's a big armored brute. He's exactly what you want in a War Boss figure. And with the Shaman, I mean, this guy is fun. He's got a troll head hat thing. He's got a giant, like, crab or lobster claw up on his staff. He's cool. He's got a little dude with him, a little goblin that's stirring a pot. Yeah, these are just really fun models. I like them a lot. Of course, they are Forge World resin, so they're gonna be pricey. I want to say it was about $40 Canadian to buy the resin Bretonia characters and Tomb King characters that just came out. Not that we had the chance to because of delays, because GW has been delayed on everything in the last, 6 months. But yeah, apparently these are resin, so expect them to be pricey. If you don't like resin, then, I guess that sucks that the new stuff is resin, but there's lots of other stuff that's going to be down below that you'll see. You should be able to make an army really easy and sort of get it to look the way you want it to look. So here are some plastic kits. Now, this is a command set. Back in 7th and 8th edition, we got plastic command sets that basically would give you a guy on foot and a guy on a horse, or, whatever their mount was, in this case, a boar. And they were just a really neat way to build your characters, because before that, every character was like metal. It came in a blister. And that was the character you got. He looked like that. Yeah, you could chop the metal up and slap pieces on it, but most of us couldn't do that very well, so it looked bad. These kits, they were plastic. They were modular. They gave you a bunch of pieces. This was like Mr. Potato Head level of, stick on the arms and the head and whatnot that you want, the little gribblies, and make the characters you want, whether it's a general on foot or on a mount. BSB. There were wizard boxes. I mean, they came out with a few of these, and they were a great way to build up your force. Next, we're going to get orcs back. We're actually going to get two kinds of orcs. This is interesting. These are the multi-part orcs that came out, let's just say 2005. I don't know exactly when they came out. But yeah, these are the ones that come in the big box set above the battalion. You can build orcs with two hand weapons, with spears, shields. I think there might be bows in there. I can't recall. But anyways, you can build a bunch of different combat orcs for sure. Alternatively, you can buy those monopose orcs that I think I talked about above. And it looks like they're going to come in a box of 80. Now, that does mean I'm guessing this will be expensive. But maybe they'll also sell these boxes kind of like at a pretty good price, just because, these are, again, starter box orcs from 2000, I want to say. I think it was 2000 that the 6th edition box set came out. And you get 20 with double choppas and 20 with bows and arrows. I think it's 20. It might actually only be 19 each. Part of me thinks it's only 19 each, if I recall those sprues. Yeah, I think it's only 19 each, but even still, 38. Again, they're monopose, other than the command blocks that you get. But, if you want to build up your orcs really quickly, and there is a box of almost 38 that you're going to get. Part of me feels like I said 80 back before. I meant to say 40. Anyways, if I said 80, I meant to say 40. And I guess in that case, I actually meant to say 38. So yeah, it's a bunch of orcs. And to be honest, I've painted up both of these types of orcs. They still paint up really well. And one of the big things that makes them even better, they rank up super easy on the old 25 mils. I'm pretty sure they're on 30 mils now. So yeah, that's a cool box set to see. If you just want to fill your ranks really fast, these guys are going to be good for that. And this one here, this is great. This is the 7th edition, I think. Might be 8th, but a later edition Boar Rider kit. And you're going to get 10. It used to be, I want to say 5, and it was pretty expensive. I think it was like 5 for 40 or 5 for 50. It'll probably be $100 in Canada, but you're going to get 10 of them. And frankly, you just can't get them anymore. You haven't been able to get these for 6 years, 7 years. They weren't one of the initial armies axed in Age of Sigmar, but a lot of the orc stuff was gone by the time you hit like 2016, 2017. I remember buying a start collecting orc box, and it came with some of these guys. And yeah, it's going to be nice to get some more, because these guys, yeah, Boar Boys are so cool. If there's an army based around these guys, I might be tempted to make myself a mounted orc army just for fun. And yeah, here's the double chariot box again. I don't know. This one I don't think this is gonna sell super well, unless again there's some sort of crazy number of chariots you can use in that nomadic wall list. Because again, I feel like everyone's gonna buy at least one of the battalion boxes, maybe 2. There's gonna be so many of these out there for cheap. I think this might be a miss on their part. And we're also going to get back the Black Orcs. I think they were called Ard Boys in Age of Sigmar till they got replaced. But these are a multi-part kit, and they're motley crew in the rules, meaning that they can have like hand weapon shield, great weapon, 2 hand weapons. Looks like you're getting 20. Again, this is one of those kits that I think was like their 7th edition push to make smaller box sets that cost more. And I think you used to get 10 of these for like 40 or $50. I know a lot of people are not super happy with some of the prices. I've brought this up before. But again, if you can get 20 of these for, well, $100 Canadian minus your discounts that if you that you'll get through stores, honestly, it's again still going to be better than collecting these things when they were new, like 12 years ago or whatever that was. Probably like 15, actually. It's been a while. So yeah, that's all the plastic stuff. Below that, we have some more resin. We have a really cool orc lord character and a BSB character. And then we have a Night Goblin character set. These were both Forge World, as I recall. And for a little bit, Forge World was doing super cool command sets. It was like throughout 8th, I think. And they were just too expensive for me. I might pull the trigger on these orc ones, if only just to paint, because that is a mighty banner. And this character is also very cool. The goblin stuff is also neat. It's Night Goblins. They're one of those, like, super cool, army, units that you think about fantasy. You think about these guys in fantasy, I was going to say. Yeah, this one here is probably the best piece in it. I can't recall if there's a squig riding option for the characters. There must be if he's here. If not, he'd just be a cool unit filler in a unit of Night Goblins. This guy here, this goblin that's got like a spell exploding out of him. And then just a very Crooked Moon banner bearer guy. All of these are great. Again, they're going to be pricey, but it's one of those things where sometimes it's okay to spend the money on one of the, more unique options in your army. If you only really need one of them, and they do represent characters, it's not always the worst investment. because it makes your army overall look better, and it gives you something really interesting to paint. And then we're going to get some other stuff. So yeah, the Troll Hag, which is, it's a model. I mean, I haven't seen one in person ever, but I've always kind of wanted to paint one. So again, this is an army that I don't know if I want to play it, but I kind of want to paint it. I painted up some orcs a few years ago, and I had a lot of fun doing it. I painted like Grimgore and some Arer boys, like the archers, and some Choppa boys, like they just little random stuff, and it was really fun to paint. Orcs are just so vibrant and goofy, and yet really dark and tough. I don't know. I just like everything about them. Other than the idea of painting a horde. I don't know if I want to paint a horde army again. But I could see myself easily getting 500 points just to use as allies. So that could be, something, or 1,000 points if I want to do a 4,000 point game. Use a 1,000 points of orc allies with somebody. That could be fun, or funny. And there's some other stuff here. Orc War Boss on Wyvern. That's a cool model. I think that's Azhag the Slaughterer. And the Orc and Goblin Giant. This one I'm not sure about. I don't know if this is I know. He's the one that's got like he's got like a dragon jaw attached to his jaw. I think he might have like a turtle shell on him somewhere. I forget. But there is a pre-plastic giant, metal giant that was pretty fun. Except for the idea of building him, because he was a pretty chunky metal dude. But they don't picture him here. But if I recall what he looks like, he's actually a really fun giant. But there's a couple more giants actually we're going to get to in a minute. Other returning models, these are just a variety of different things. So we have a Rock Laba. We've got some, I think they're called Nasty Skulkers. And some bosses. So yeah, Goblin bosses, Goblin Wolf Rider bosses, Goblin Bolt Thrower, Goblin Doom Diver Catapult, Goblin Wolf Chariot, Orc Shaman, Orc Shamans. I guess that means a pack of 2. I don't know what that difference is there. Orc Biggins Command. Not a unit I actually recall being different, but I'm betting it's metal. It's probably something from like 5th or 6th edition. Snotling Swarm, Snotling Pump Wagon, Common Trolls, and Classic Ogres. If they're the ogres I think they are, they're hideous. But like, in the sense that they're really 80s, if they're the ones I'm thinking of. Like, if you know 80s fantasy, and like 80s fantasy, you might really like these ogres. Again, if they're the ones I'm thinking of. Same with the trolls. We're also going to get some other things that are going to be made to order. A Marauder Giant. The Marauder Giant, if I recall, he's like a Cyclops. He's got a real like Jason and the Argonauts vibe. If it's the one I'm thinking of. And he goes for stupid money. Like, they could call this guy $100 on made to order, and it would still be a deal compared to buying a used one. That's how much, this guy costs. Like, a really good deal too, because that's going to include like free shipping. I think the cheapest one you would see on eBay after shipping is going to be like $150 to like $180 Canadian. I'm not saying GW, you should go make this thing $130 and it's a deal. But if you can keep this in the $80 or $90 range, you're going to sell like 1,000 of these. I'm being like truthful. It's one of those times that maybe like, just maybe be calm on the price of this one. Don't be like, oh, you know what? I'll like make it $150 because everyone buys it for $150. Think about, would people buy 2 for $160? I don't know if I'd buy 2 for $160, but I know a few people that would buy 2 for $160 because that's $10 more than buying one right now. So yeah, Marauder Giant, that one's going to sell. I mean, doesn't matter what the price is, as long as it's cheaper than the used stuff on eBay, it's going to sell. Also, we're going to get the Orc Shaman on War Wyvern. So this is different from the Azhag model that was up above. This guy, the War Wyvern from 93, it's really like, it's that 3rd, 4th edition dragon look where it's all like spindly and like bendy, wavy, and it's tall. And it's a really cool model. I don't know if it's one I'd want in my collection, but this is made to order stuff that's going to sell really well. Again, I've never seen that shaman on Wyvern in person, but I can only imagine it's a sort of like a wish list item for a lot of people because it's very reminiscent of the old, like elf dragons that were all like, again, spindly, wavy dudes. And it strikes me that that's going to be popular. Stone trolls. These guys are going to be crazy popular. I'm getting 6 of those. I know they're going to be expensive, but I'm going to buy 6 of them because, just look at them. They might be one of the most characterful units in all of Warhammer Fantasy's history. I get why they put out the plastic ones, and I get why they've tried to replace these a couple of times in their history, but they're just so good that, I like this. I actually like the trolls they put out for Age of Sigmar, but these guys, they're something else. These are some of the best trolls ever made by any company. We talk about how good GW's models are. These were hand sculpted in green stuff, and then they were done in metal for years. Like, these are from it says this from 93. I don't know if that's, that's from 93. I don't know when these guys are from, but they're at least 25 years old. I'm thinking it's closer to 30. They're 2 sets of classic stone trolls. So, at least 6. I've got to get at least 6 of them. River trolls. I don't actually remember what the metal river trolls look like, but it'll be interesting to see them. And then the Black Orc Big Boss with axe and shield. Again, don't know what that guy looks like offhand. I'm going to have to go hit up Stuff of Legends and see what they have in the old catalogs. Yeah, so stone trolls, river trolls, and common trolls. That's a lot of options. Now, common trolls might be that plastic kit. But I don't think so, because I think that would have been mentioned above. But anyways, this is going to be cool, seeing all this stuff back. And, a bunch of other stuff about how they have been digging through the back rooms, finding molds and whatnot, and masters, so they can get all these back. I don't know, like I said, I'm just really excited to see all this. The amount of stuff I'm seeing for orcs here, it's really like heartwarming to feel that this stuff is going to be on tables again. And not only that, it's going to be new. Some of this stuff was old and out of production when I started, or on its way out of production. To think that it's going to be back and people are going to be buying new copies of these things is just crazy to me. I saw somebody doing something with Tomb King skeletons the other day, and it never even occurred to me that they're in the new plastic. Because I saw the sprues for the first time. They're like new plastic. I knew they were new plastic, but it never occurred to me that they were going to be new, because I think of Tomb King skeletons in the old soft plastic they used to use back in the early 2000s, and it's bad. Once in a while I come across a sprue of Cadians or something from back then, and it's white almost, and it's not a good plastic. I'm not saying that those Tomb King skeletons are that much better because of the plastic, but it's got to help. Anyways, this video is dragging on. I could just reminisce all day. It's been a great day for Warhammer Fantasy. I am so excited and happy. I hope everybody else who's been waiting for this is feeling the same way I do. Because honestly, this is what we've been waiting for, Those of us who didn't just jump ship immediately to Age of Sigmar, those of us who didn't go and find, some other game, Kings of War or Ninth Age or whatever, and just pretend like everything was fine. Those of us who kept playing Warhammer Fantasy, who kept the game alive, who talked about it, who sometimes brought other people into the game, even after it died. This is for us. This is not just because of the Total War games, which I admit it's probably mostly because of the Total War games, but as much as those guys are going to enjoy it, I think, I still think this is a day for us, and it's really nice to finally be here. Anyways, thanks so much for listening. If you have any thoughts or comments, leave them down below. I'll do my best to answer everybody as quickly as possible. And as always, have yourselves a great day.